Carolyn Mitchell stared at the elegant invitation in her hand. Heavy cream cardstock, gold lettering, formal language requesting her presence at a charity dinner honoring community volunteers. She'd been volunteering at the women's shelter for 15 years. Apparently, someone had noticed. At 55, Carolyn had built a quiet life. She worked as a social worker, lived in a modest apartment, spent her weekends helping women rebuild their lives after leaving abusive situations. She didn't do it for recognition. She did it because it mattered. But the invitation intrigued her. Black tie event at the Grandview Hotel, dinner and awards ceremony. She'd never been to anything like that. Her friend Joyce insisted she go, even helped her find a dress at the consignment shop, a simple navy gown that fit perfectly. "You deserve to be celebrated," Joyce said firmly. "You give so much. Let someone give back to you for once." The night of the dinner, Carolyn felt nervous in a way she hadn't in years. The hotel ballroom was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, women in designer gowns and men in tuxedos. She checked her table assignment. Table 12. As she approached, she saw she was seated next to a distinguished-looking man, early 60s, silver hair, kind eyes. He stood when he saw her. "Miss Mitchell, I'm Lawrence Hartwell. I've been looking forward to meeting you." Something in his tone confused her. Looking forward to meeting her? They shook hands, and Carolyn took her seat. "Have we met before?" she asked. "No, but I've heard wonderful things about your work at Haven House. The director speaks very highly of you." Carolyn relaxed slightly. Of course, he was probably a donor. That made sense. The dinner began. They made polite conversation. Lawrence asked thoughtful questions about her work, listened intently to her answers. He seemed genuinely interested, not just making small talk. "What do you do, Lawrence?" Carolyn asked. "I run a foundation. We fund nonprofits focused on family services and domestic violence prevention. That's important work." "So is yours," he said warmly. "Direct service, being there in the trenches, that's where real change happens." As the meal progressed, Carolyn noticed something odd. Other people at their table kept glancing at them with knowing smiles. A woman across the table even winked at Lawrence. During the salad course, Lawrence leaned closer. "Carolyn, I need to tell you something. This might come as a surprise." Her heart started to race. "What?" "This isn't exactly a charity dinner." "Well, it is. But it's also something else. I don't understand." Lawrence took a deep breath. "My daughter works at Haven House. She's been telling me about this amazing volunteer for months. How dedicated you are. How kind. How you show up every single Saturday without fail. She thought we should meet." Carolyn's stomach dropped. "Meet?" "She arranged this evening. Told you it was a volunteer appreciation dinner. Told me it was a foundation event, but really, it's a setup. This is a blind date." Carolyn felt heat rise to her face. "What? No, that's not possible." "I'm sorry," Lawrence said quickly. "I only found out myself this afternoon. My daughter called me laughing, very proud of herself. I almost called to warn you, but she begged me not to. Said you'd never come if you knew." Carolyn stood abruptly. "I should leave. This is humiliating." "Please don't," Lawrence said, standing too. "I know this is awkward, but you're already here. The food is excellent. And honestly, I'm enjoying talking with you. Can we just have dinner? No pressure. No expectations, just two people who got tricked by well-meaning relatives, making the best of it." Carolyn looked around. Everyone was watching. Leaving now would be even more humiliating than staying. She sat back down. "Your daughter did this?" "My daughter, who thinks I've been alone too long since her mother passed. She's very determined." "My friend Joyce is friends with your daughter, isn't she?" Carolyn said, pieces clicking together. "They planned this together." "Almost certainly," Lawrence agreed. "They're probably hiding somewhere watching us right now." Despite herself, Carolyn laughed. "This is insane. Completely insane," Lawrence agreed. "But also kind of sweet? In a meddling, overstepping boundaries sort of way." They sat in silence for a moment. "So what do we do?" Carolyn asked. "We could leave separately and let them think it was a disaster. Teach them not to meddle. Or we could have a nice dinner. Talk like adults. And decide for ourselves if their meddling was actually helpful." Carolyn considered. She looked at Lawrence, really looked at him. He had kind eyes, laugh lines. He'd been respectful about the situation. And honestly, she was curious about him. "All right," she said, "we stay, but if this gets weird, I'm leaving." "Fair enough," Lawrence agreed. They continued dinner. The initial awkwardness faded. Lawrence told her about his late wife, Grace, who died 4 years earlier after a battle with Alzheimer's, how he'd cared for her until the end, how lost he'd felt after. "I threw myself into the foundation," he said. "Worked constantly. My daughter says I'm hiding from life. She's probably right." Carolyn told him about her ex-husband, who'd left 20 years ago for someone younger, how she'd raised their son alone while working full-time and going to graduate school. "I decided I didn't need anyone after that," Carolyn said. "I built a good life on my own. My son is grown now, successful. I have my work, my volunteering. It's enough." "Is it?" Lawrence asked gently. The question caught her off guard. "What do you mean? Is it really enough? Or is it just safe?" Carolyn felt tears prick her eyes. "That's not fair." "I'm sorry," Lawrence said. "I shouldn't have said that. I'm projecting. My daughter asks me the same thing." They were quiet for a moment. "Maybe it is just safe," Carolyn admitted. "But safe feels better than hurt." "It does," Lawrence agreed. "But it's also lonely." The dinner ended. Awards were presented. Carolyn received recognition for her volunteer work. Lawrence clapped proudly, like he'd known her for years instead of hours. Outside, they waited for the valet to bring their cars. "Thank you for staying," Lawrence said. "I know this wasn't what you expected tonight." "It wasn't," Carolyn agreed. "But it was nice. You're nice. Your daughter has good instincts. So does your friend Joyce." Carolyn's car arrived first. As she moved to leave, Lawrence touched her arm gently. "Carolyn, would you like to have coffee sometime? A real date, not a surprise setup. Just you and me, knowing what we're getting into." She looked at this man who'd lost his wife, who'd been honest about his loneliness, who'd made her laugh despite the awkward situation. "I don't know," she said honestly. "I haven't dated in 20 years. I wouldn't even know where to start." "Neither would I," Lawrence admitted. "But maybe we could figure it out together. Two people who've been hurt, who've built safe lives, who might be ready to try something different." Carolyn felt something shift inside her. Fear, yes, but also hope. "Coffee," she said. "Just coffee, to start. Just coffee," Lawrence agreed, smiling. 3 months later, Carolyn sat in her apartment with Joyce, who was grinning like a proud parent. "So you're actually dating him, regularly?" "We are," Carolyn admitted. "He's patient, kind. He understands that I'm cautious. He doesn't push." "I told you my plan would work," Joyce said smugly. "Your plan was manipulative and overstepping," Carolyn said. But she was smiling. "But thank you. I wouldn't have gone if I'd known, and I would have missed something wonderful." "Sometimes we need people who love us to push us past our fear," Joyce said, "to remind us that safe isn't the same as happy." Carolyn thought about that. About the walls she'd built after her divorce, about the years she'd spent alone, telling herself it was enough. Lawrence had shown her it could be more than enough. It could be full, rich, shared. "You know what the funny part is?" Carolyn said. "I thought I was going to be honored for my volunteer work, and I was. But the real gift that night wasn't the award. It was meeting someone who reminded me I'm allowed to want more for myself. That helping others doesn't mean I can't let someone help me too." "That's what love does," Joyce said softly. "It reminds us we're worthy of receiving, not just giving." Carolyn's phone buzzed. "A text from Lawrence? Dinner tonight? I promise this one is actually a date." She smiled and typed back. "As long as you promise no more surprises, no more surprises, just us." Sometimes the best surprises are the ones we never see coming. Sometimes being tricked into showing up is exactly what we need to find what we didn't know we were missing. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment about a time someone's meddling turned out to be a blessing. Sometimes the people who love us see what we need before we do.